Alright, so I gotta get in here. I forgot to grab my screwdrivers, so I had to break for a second to get it. Something you're gonna need, tools of the trade. I've got this several heads for this little screwdriver. It really comes in handy when you're modifying flashlights. You have a good precision screwdriver set. Some thermal compound. These are the two that I use the most. The IC Diamond. This one's for flashlights. I don't have one right now that I used it on, but if you have a small, like a 16 millimeter copper heatsink, and you're trying to put a overdriven LED on it, you're going to want to use some IC Diamond. This stuff is going to put the most heat through. So basically it's going to have the least resistance to thermal conductivity of any product I've seen so far, unless you make it custom. Alright, we got this Arctic Silver 5. This is what I'm going to be using for this modification. This is, if used properly, basically you're not going to notice the layer of Arctic Silver 5. It's going to be basically like having the copper directly mounted to the aluminum. So we'll use this instead of what's in there right now. Normally what they use is just some thermal paste, pretty generic white stuff. You see it in computers and stuff, but we're not going to be doing any normal levels of current for this LED. We're actually going to be pushing about 6 amps. I got my cheap soldering iron. You can get a better one if you want to. This is what I use. I got some new sense resistors. These are 1/4 of the resistance of the stock sense resistors that are in there. I've got a new driver right here. I actually bought it a long time ago for my TN31. I thought it had a problem, but it didn't. So I've got an extra one. The 4th or 5th level, one of the levels does not work on this light. I just bought it off eBay. Didn't realize it before I gave them positive feedback. But no worries, I've got a driver right here. So I'm going to be replacing the sense resistors, which is these two resistors right here. I'll show you that in this driver, and then I'll be installing it in this head. So I'm not going to break this apart if I don't have to, just because I don't really feel like it. Basically I just use 2 strap wrenches, one here, rubber, and then just torque it really hard until they snap. It's just glue they stick in there. Not sure why they do that, but they do. It keeps, actually I do know why. They keep this this magnetic ring right here. It has a little ball and a little spring in it, and if you take it apart and you pull it off, that little ball flies across the room, and you might not be able to find it again. And I don't know where to buy tiny little bearings at, but alright, so you got 2 little screws right here. I'm just going to pop both of those out. They hold the, I think that's a 30 millimeter or 31 millimeter heatsink to the body of the flashlight, which is made out of aluminum. Copper has a thermal conductivity that is almost twice as good as aluminum, so that's why they're going to use copper for this heatsink. I'm hoping that they used copper. Yeah, they used copper. It should be directly mounted to the copper too, so that means that they take the LED and reflow solder it directly onto the LED. I'm sorry, against the star thermal pad. Cree LEDs have their own thermal pad. You might have noticed Nichia LEDs, they don't have those thermal pads. It's just a difference in the way they manufacture the light. I like Cree LEDs myself. That's what I use. You know, you can use whatever ones you want to use. No problem. This is just a little piece of metal. It's a little piece of aluminum coated, and they use that to keep contact with the battery's positive side, which is this little one in the middle, and his negative side, which is here, with the actual driver without rubbing off this little layer on there. So you can see, pretty simple. I'm just going to have to take the solder off from right there, those 2 points. I'm going to use my soldering iron to do that. It's not really hot yet, so I'll be plugging all that real quick. Here, I'll pull apart my my custom flashlight here real quick.